Alright. What's up, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back. What you don't realize if you've stepped into a time vortex that it goes back 13 years to the end of Wings of Liberty. And we've got two players from back then to play against each other. In the bottom right side of the map, we've got Mixu, who's a young lad just discovering Starcraft 2 at that age, I believe. A young, like a literal small child. And a guy who was already a pro gamer at that point, who was starting to make his way into the pro ranks. It is Dark in the top left, who's going to be off racing as Protoss. And I did not even realize that until just now. But he is going to be playing Protoss, and this is a tournament which had, I think, a total of $600 prize pool. This was played last week. It's purely on the Wings of Liberty balance at the end of 2012, which means, of course, no Tempests, no ranged pickup on the Warp Prism, no Disruptors, no Adepts, no Oracles. Zerg does not have Ravagers. They can just morph a Siege unit at tier 1. Nuh-uh. They don't have Swarm Hosts. They don't have Vipers or Lurkers either. So there's a lot of tools missing from the arsenals. A lot of things are just different in how they work. The stats are different. Spells like Fungal work totally differently. Carriers a bit different back in this version. Obviously the mothership's very different. So it's in general going to be interesting to see how do the players adapt to all of that, not to mention the fact that it's a 6-worker start. Not only is it a 6-worker start, every mineral patch on every base starts with 1,500 minerals. I'm going to hide my camera so I'm not blocking anything here. 1,500 minerals on all of these minerals, right? Which means your bases do not mine out half at a time. Whereas in Legacy of the Void, half your base mines out 8.5 minutes. The other half mines out about 8.5 minutes after that, right? Because it's double the minerals, right? And likewise on all your expansions. So you can turtle it up on 2 to 3 bases for much longer in this version of StarCraft. Because there's no Ravagers, you can defend with a Forge and Cannons and get a very quick expand up, which is what Dark's going to be going for here. And we'll see how that fares against the pool first of Mixu. Having his expansion block, not willing to take a third base because he knows it's so open to the cannon rush. And this was very common back in the days. You had to open up 4 Zerglings to clear out the probe, push it back, get the Queen injecting to build more drones, and allow that to secure your expansion against the Protoss. So the Nexus goes down a bit earlier, and Zerg usually tries to make up for that by taking the third base just afterwards. Oh, Probe doesn't even get the block there. A little slow of a reaction from Dark. Now, Dark screwing around with Protoss is going to be interesting. For those of you who don't know, what did Protoss do back in these days? Colossus did not do bonus to light. They just did better damage all around. They were a multi-purpose destroyer of worlds. Problem, if you're stuck on 2 bases, it's kind of hard to get Colossus out. How do you secure your third? Well, most players wouldn't even try. They would just do some sort of all-in off 2 bases Protoss. Remember, Protoss doesn't have all the things that keep them safe. No mothership core, no shield battery, no recall. Protoss essentially was the gimmick all-in race in Wings of Liberty. You'd do a cute all-in, because if you tried to macro, you'd usually die. Now, there were a few players, like Rain, who actually were pretty damn good macro players with Protoss. But you were always playing with less units in a really fragile position. The reason, though, that Protoss was still pretty good in Wings of Liberty is because your opponents didn't have Liberators. They didn't have Ghosts that weren't even near as good as the Legacy of the Void Ghost. They didn't have Lurkers or Vipers or any of these tools that actually allow the Zerg and Terran to, I would say, match the Protoss in the late game. Protoss late game, I would say, is generally way better than the others in the late game of Wings of Liberty for the first few years. So over time, no counter to force fields, right? No counter to like having a good Storm, Colossus, Death Ball, right? Everyone's like, if they get a Death Ball, they destroy. Problem, that's not always the case. And what do you mean by that's not always the case, Pig? Well, what I mean is about 1.5 years into StarCraft 2 Wings of Liberty, a guy called, was it Stefano the first one? I don't know. There was a few people figured it out, but one of the ones who popularized Infestors was definitely Stefano. And yeah, there's a few different people who figured out, hey, this fungal spell is actually broken. It locks units in place, doesn't let them move, and it did an insane amount of damage. No one really could find a way to use Infestors in the first year and a half of StarCraft 2. So they buffed it twice, bringing its damage up to 36 damage plus 12 verse armored, 48 damage verse armored units. Fungal against, in the modern version of StarCraft 2, does 25 flat damage. And it slows you. It doesn't completely lock you in place. So this old school Fungal, man, if you land this and you got Broodlords behind it, like, it just destroys. Like, you can't really break Broodlord Infestor in late game. You don't have Tempest. You don't have any of these, like, late game tools. Maybe you can find a way to do some stuff, but it's a very different sort of situation where Protoss seemed basically just impossible to beat for a long time. Then players figured it out and went, oh, hey, you know, we can, you know, actually go things like Broodlord Infestor, and everyone went, oh, Zerg's the broken one. But we'll see if Mixu knows how to get there and how early he tries to rush there. He's going for an early Evo chamber. He's got 3 gases, no Roach Horn. Does he have Ling Speed? Is he going for melee before Ling Speed? Oh, man. He's trying to do the Ling Surround build. Okay, so check this out. Because Immortal Pressure is so common. Oh, cancels. Never mind. He's going to go range. But why so early? Range into lag? What do we... Dude, this Immortal Push is going to just kill you, isn't it? If Dark just commits to a full 2 base, he can destroy. Notice how he's building sentries. No energy recharge either. So he's going to build up his sentry count. He's going to go for like 8 gateways. Does have a lot of pylons. And I think the Warp Prism soon? No, he's going to go for a 2nd Immortal, a 3rd Immortal, and only then is he going to go for a Warp Prism. And this is the old school 1-1-1 build, guys. And I say 1-1-1, it's because it was Korean 1. It was like a pun in Korean. Essentially, the Soul Train, I think, was the better name for the Western audience. It's a bit less confused. I don't have to explain that. Parting's old 2-base Immortal Push. Hit with +1 attack. I don't think you bother with +1 armor. You just go with a big pack of sentries, a couple of Immortals, a Warp Prism, and it's just Zealots and Stalkers warping in to support it. And it's so hard to stop. But he's building an Observer, not a Warp Prism. And that's confusing. I guess he rallies the Prism in from... Or maybe he skips the Prism and just builds a Pylon on the front. You can do that as well. Remember, you can build a Pylon. All energy fields are created equal in Legacy, in Wings of Liberty. You can warp in next to a gateway, pylon, nexus, anywhere. You can just build a pylon on the other side of the map. It'll warp in as fast as a Warp Prism, which is huge. Now, +1 range roaches are on the way. Roach speed coming in, as well as Ling speed. That Roach Horn position has me worried. This Immortal Push could be very scary. Prism's finally coming out right now. 51 drones for Mixu. He's respecting this push. He knows what's happening, and he's not screwing around. He's going to make an Overseer as well, so he will be going into scout. He's got Lings all around the map. Overseer in the very top is going to try to confirm what's happening. And of course, it's go time. 8 sentries. Are we warping it even more? Yeah, he's going to make even more. That's 9 sentries right now. He's going to lift across the wall with his Warp Prism. Remember, you don't have range pickup with this Warp Prism. You have to actually fly over the units to pick them up. Which... Oh, he's unloading on the wrong side of the wall. Oh my god, Dark, what are we doing, mate? Move! You gotta get the other Immortal. Oh my gosh. He's taking so long to move out. Dark fumbling a little bit like, oh god, I forgot this Warp Prism doesn't have ranged pickup. What is this? Okay, so he's gonna come forward. Immortal-sentry. Zealots warping in. Another gateway there as well. The Overseer up at the main base. And another gateway. Holy crudsicles. Link counterattack. I like it. There's a cannon. I don't like it, actually. If he can surround the Zealots, it'd be good. But I don't think you're going to be able to tear down that wall. He warps Stalkers at home, though. Forcing him to warp in Stalkers at home, super worth. Zerglings going to try and threaten from behind. 27 Roaches, 51 Zerglings. And when you fight this, you need to come from multiple sides. You cannot be in a ball. Mixu, this is old school StarCraft. Mixu is more of a Legacy of the Void gamer. He was not a super high level player in Wings of Liberty and Heart of the Swarm. In Legacy of the Void, he's become the second best player in Finland, of course, behind Serral. He's a very good player, but dude... You got to set up a full surround. You need to be coming from this angle as well with the Roaches. Here we go. He's going for it. Those force fields, he has no counter to them. He's just got to spread and come from multiple angles. He goes in, but I think he might be overcommitting. I think you want to force the force fields and then pull back. But he overcommits a little bit, does Mixu. You want to be hitting from 2-3 sides, moving in, pulling out, moving in, pulling out. You have to bait the force fields because Dark has just so very many of them. 3 Immortals are going to be absolute destroyers of the Roaches. The Lings and Roaches going in, going out, and Dark just hanging out outside the base right now. He's got the Immortals, he's got the Stalkers, the Sentries, and the Zealots. He's hanging outside this base, and he is just having fun right now. Dark bringing back the 1-1-1 build in style. I love it, man. I'm excited. Is he? Wait, he's going to pick up. Is he going to... Guys, he's going to go block the ramp. Oh, you piece of... Oh, this build has traumatized me so many times back when I was a pro Zerg player, guys. He's going for it. He's going for it. He's going to force field him out of his own main base. But wait, he's going to jump on top. Force field to protect the main army. And look at that. Oh, no way to break that. You're locked outside of your main. Lol, look at me. I'm a Wings of Liberty Protoss player. Look at me, says Dark. This is Dark. He remembers the trauma of being a Zerg player in Wings of Liberty and just not having corrosive bile. You're like, oh, look, I'm in your main base. This game is really fair. You're just like, really? This is a fun experience. I guess I just lose my main now while you warp in units and just slowly kill me. Now, to be fair, if he screws up and misses the force field, it could be big. Speaking of which, big Roach army, but one more force field would be huge. Oh my gosh, he's getting jumped on. Oh, did Dark screw up? Dark got too fancy with his army. At the same time, he does keep the force fields going at home. But look at this. His army's getting jumped on. He's going to lose all of his immortals. Oh, man. Mixu, is it enough? He's got to get rid of these immortals. They're shredding him. And remember, he's losing his main base. He shreds the army, and he does try to escape. The drones are like, please let us leave. The sentries are like, you can't leave. And they just lock them in. The lair's going to go down. Oh, he's got to send the sentries back to the ramp to keep Mixu out of here. Mixu's like, haha, he's away from the ramp. Oh, no, he's back. And he can just warp in more sentries as well. Dark right now just laughing his butt off. His main base will mine out in a couple of minutes. I think it's about 18, 19 minutes when that mines out. So he does have to expand at some point, but you can see his income's great. You know, he's on 44 probes versus 32 workers. He's up in minerals on gas. He can get rid of Overlord's tech. And at home, he can just build up another army. And he's like, oh, witness me, man. Remember. So there was actually literally some Zerg. Sometimes we would literally put a spore crawler here preemptively pretty much every game against Zerg because we would be so traumatized. Oh, he presses the wrong button. Misses the force field. The slow zealots are coming back there, and he can drop and force field again. These roaches are actually cornered. Oh, man. Dude, the zealots are actually going to beat this. The slow zealots. But wait, he does burrow. Mixu with a slick burrow there. Remember, he already killed the observer with the overseer earlier, and the roaches breaking down the back door. But Mixu, dude, I don't know. Force fields, immortals, cannons. I think Dark completely fine at home. He's adding blink in case there's mutalisks. Give himself some flexibility. But you can see how long you could turtle on a low base count. This was one of the main frustration points back in Wings of Liberty, is you could sit behind a choke point and not really worry about having to secure a lot of the map for a long time. But look at this. Mixu's going to try and break it. If he can clean this up really efficiently, he might be in a good spot. You might be wondering, why doesn't Dark recall? Remember, you don't have recall in this game. The Queens and the Roaches are actually getting an incredible trade-off, and Mixu fights back like a beast. Drops an infestation, drops an Evo chamber. I think double expand might be more important there. And honestly, I don't think you actually take... I think you, as Mixu, you build and expand, and then you just don't do anything. You just keep making Roachling and try to all in when Dark takes a third, or crush him when he comes to you. Definitely wants to burrow to Tunneling Claw, heal those roaches as well. Fourth Immortal coming out, +1 armor about to kick in. No Twilight Council, no Stargate, no third base. 17 minutes into the game. Keep in mind, game timer is not really 17 minutes. You can see that's ticking a lot faster. About 30% faster, I believe, than real time, as this is the old school Blizzard clock time. Back on the old faster game speed, right? Did you guys know there were pro matches where we found out back in the day, if you're a referee and you press the plus button during a game, I don't know if this still is the case, or you can disable it in settings, I think. If you're a referee in a game, which means you have power over pausing a tournament match, you could press the plus or minus button on your keyboard, and it would literally change the game speed the players were playing at. So we normally host on faster, but someone would press a minus key accidentally, who's observing or whatever, and it would literally slow down the entire game. And then they hit it again, it would slow down more, and then they'd be like, oh crap, and they'd hit plus twice, and it would go back to normal game speed. And you're just like, is this happening in the middle of a $100,000 tournament? Early days of StarCraft 2 tournaments were hilarious. They used to not have recover replay, so the game would like crash, or there'd be a disconnect in the middle of like a deciding game of a tournament, and they'd be like, well, this guy was ahead about 30%, but it wasn't over, so we just have to restart the game. The player was way ahead. Is like, what? Dude, like, I was gonna win that game. They're like, probably, but like not for sure. So we'll just have to like reset and regame. And you're like, what? It was a special time. It's still got a special place in my heart, even though it was so dodgy. Roaches trying to pull back there. Good sentry traps, man. This army of Dark is just getting out of control. Neural. Okay, so Mixu's decided, look, there's only one way I win this game. I've got a bad income. I've got good supply, but I need to basically take your immortals and make them hit your own units with your own immortals. And if he could do that, get like 5-6 neurals off, I mean, that could just completely switch this game around. Notice he didn't make pathogen glands. Zergs have forgotten how to make pathogen glands since they took that upgrade out of the game a couple patches ago. They start with 75 energy now in the modern version of the game. 2-1 upgrades for Protoss with +3 on the way. Charge, Templar Archives. If he adds Storm and Feedback, Dark's army is just going to like massively snowball in power. But if we go to Dark's Vision, he doesn't know about the Infestors. There's 3 more building right now. There's already 5 out with Burrow. And if he pushes on creep and gets ambushed, it could go really well for Mixu. Now, main base is almost completely dried up on minerals. So even at just 55 workers, you'll see that Dark's just on a third base. I think what I do enjoy about Wings of Liberty is that the supply cap doesn't come in as a limiting factor as artificially as it does in Legacy of the Void. So what I mean by this is you'll see how long this game's gone, how big the armies are, how much has happened. The game hits the max out kind of later in the game. Oh, the fungal! You can't blink if you're fungled. Nice chain fungal there. Use 2 fungals to catch those stalkers. Immortals though coming in force fielding a few of those roaches. Whereas like so modern day Starcraft, right? Because of the 12 worker start, you sometimes end up both players maxed at like 8.5 minutes, and that just feels a bit weird to me. It feels like it's this artificial cap where you're like, oh. Don't get me wrong, we're hitting it here, and it's obviously a bigger factor for Zerg than it is for Protoss or Terran, but going, oh crap, if I could make more roaches, I would just have like 100 roaches rather than just 50 here, but kind of interesting. Let me know what you guys think in the comments about max supplies. I had someone the other day who was saying, isn't this an antiquated concept? Why do we have max supply at all? In the old days, yeah, you could only have so many units or your computer would crash, but these days, like, you can kind of handle a lot more units, so why isn't the supply cap doubled or tripled? Like why do we need this artificial factor in there? And why do we even need to build supply? It seems dumb, you know? And I was like, you know, I'm not against it. Hadn't really thought about it. And I was just kind of like, I don't know. Don't get me wrong. There is skill expression in building supply buildings and stuff like that. But it does feel annoying when you're stuck at max supply, not able to build more units. Yeah, like, you know, I don't know. Could probably be tweaked here or there. But it's fascinating that so many games have this concept. It's kind of like a hard cap on stopping the fights getting too big, right? Does Beyond All Reason have that? You guys let me know. I feel like Beyond All Reason seems like such a grand scale game. They probably don't have a hard cap. Feels like you probably just keep building power and whatever the hell gives the supply thing in that game the whole time. Oh no, the Infestor's got jumped on. Okay, how many Infestors did he lose? Just one. Dark's going to secure a 4th base right now, guys. Dude, this game is still going. Fleet Beacon's on the way as well. Dark's like, hey, I'm going to get a Fleet Beacon and make Mama and Carriers. And that's a good way to do it. Old Mothership has Vortex. That's one thing that could absolutely be good because 9 Infestors, create a Spire. You're not meant to win against Brewlord Infestor. There is one counter, and that is the Archon Toilet. Basically, the old Mothership guys used to have Vortex, and it would basically do a black hole, we'd often call it, throw it on the ground. All units would get sucked in and just be like out of combat for 10, 20 seconds. And you could throw Archons in it, and then when the units popped out, because they're all clumped up, the Archon splash damage would kill everything inside. So that might be Dark's answer, as these Infestors are just so hard for him to deal with. Look at this, he's Stalker dropping. He's got Zealots on the left, Stalkers in the back. Dude, this is cool. He's taking out Queens right now. The Corruptors will come out, and they should be shutting this down as these Corruptors emerge, but already getting quite a few drones down, really disrupting Mixu's mining. The Zealots warping in over there as well, guys, and that is going to cause problems for a Mixu, who really doesn't want their economy to getting messed with right now as they're trying to get towards those Broodlords. Infestors throw a fungal out, that instant cast fungal, 36 damage to the Zealots, not half bad. Dude, it really chunks the life off way better. And it is going to be Mama. Yeah, he's going Mama. No carriers, no 2nd and 3rd Stargate, no air weapons, nothing like that. He gets a 4th base. Dude, Mixu's got to get on top of this. Dude, he let the Prism in his main. Mixu, get it together, mate. I thought you were a Legacy of the Void gamer. I thought that Legacy of the Void multitasking was good, mate. Come on. You can stabilize, bro. Finally gets rid of that Prism. Does Fatly, Tumbling Claw, Roach Micro as well. I mean, Mixu is playing pretty well in an unfamiliar situation. Speaking of which, still a lot of supply in Roaches. The problem right now, you've only got 3 Broodlords. You need, as Mixu, to send these Roaches to counterattack. You cannot fight into this army. But he goes for the Neurals! He does Neural a lot of Immortals, but the Storms come down and the Infestors get popped before they can kill that much. It's only a couple Broodlords. Now, Blinkstalkers could deal with that. You gotta be careful. Remember, these are the old Broodlings. These old Broodlings munch, 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 guys. Remember, the modern Broodling... If the Broodling kills things by eating them, the modern Broodling is bulimic, basically, or anorexic, right? It's just the one that just doesn't eat. It's just like, num, num, num. It like pretends to eat, and you're like, can you actually do some damage, right? The modern Broodling, lower attack speed, less hit points, slower movement speed, slower attack speed, lower damage. Like, it basically is just an all-around much worse unit. Whereas the old Broodling is like the fat kid that eats the other kid's lunch, like... fostering a couple kittens the other week. One of them, super skinny, could see its ribs when we had it. The other one kept eating its food. And I was like, oi! Because the first one wouldn't even eat the food. It was just like, it was too stressed out. Eventually we got it eating and stuff, and it put on heaps of weight. It was great. It was all healthy. But yeah, basically, there's always the one, like, cat in the litter or whatever that eats all the other cat's food, hogs all the milk. This is the old Broodling. These guys nibble, and they nibble hard. Unfortunately, no melee upgrades. which is really bad. No melee upgrades just yet. And that's the main upgrade to give Broodlings extra damage. With +1 armor and +1 shields, Dark's army's going to tank pretty well. Mama! This is the old Mama, guys. Permanent cloak. She's slow. She's chunky. Stop weight shaming her. She's a proper American mom. She's there. She's big. And she can vortex. That's all she does though, right? Permanent cloak. I think, oh, she has recall. She has recall, vortex, and permanent cloaking. Oh my god. And she has 700 total hit points. Her attack is nearly worthless, unlike the modern mothership, which they actually made really cool. And she is, of course, 400 minerals and 400 gas. Oh, Infestor Terran! Terran's coming down. Broodlords. Oh, the neural. The neural. Fungal. Where are the fungals? Mixu. Not as it. Oh, he got the fungal Knight Templar. He chained the fungal Knight Templar. He needs one more. But the vortex goes down. Dark vortex is the Broodlord. No, you gotta stay out. He's trying to block him. If those Archons get in there, he's gonna lose all of his Corruptors and Broodlords to the Archons. The Archons desperately coming. He was trying to use fungal and Infested Terrans. The mothership goes down to the Corruptors. The Archons are getting inside. Oh no, the Broodlords. The Broodlords are getting popped. And the Archon Toilet. Dark takes a Mixu to Poop Town with the Archon Toilet. Oh, we're gonna watch that again. That was so cool. I mean, that's so stupid. And what I really want is Starcraft to be like this again, guys. I gotta say, I don't want this to be balanced for more than a few months, but I want a new patch every 6 months that puts stupid stuff like this in the game. And then 5 months in, we're really sick of it. It's overpowered. It's dumb. And then they remove it and they put new dumb stuff in the game. I mean, wouldn't this just be the dream? I love it. I don't know. At this point, I'm like, screw making it a sport that never changes and never evolves. I'm all on board with this. I used to be like, give us a stable game that never changes for 20 years. These days, I've completely changed camps to just give me fun toilet button. Because that is friggin' hilarious. GG, well played, Dark. I did not realize I was getting in here for half an hour game. Well, I guess half an hour Heart of the Swarm time. You can look at the YouTube timer to see how long that's been. Probably 20 minutes, 22 minutes or something. I didn't realize it was this long. I also didn't realize there was a vortex because I was like, oh, he's doing an immortal all in. This game's going to end. But dude, units lost time, 7,000 more efficient. The force field on the ramp brought back so much of my trauma from like 2013, 2012 as a pro player. Died to that build so many times with the bloody Prism and the sentries on the high ground. Oh man, hats off to Dark. He was like, dude, what made Zerg players depressed in Wings of Liberty? Oh yeah, immortal-sentry push, sentries on the ramp, force fielding you out of your own main base, which you have no counterplay to, and then the mothership vortex. Beautiful play by Dark. GG, well played. Thank you, Mixu, for being a good dancing partner. Landed some really good roach engages and neurals, but dude, you gotta spread your army against that Archon Toilet and just give it massive respect. Felt like he just didn't have enough Broodlords and Corruptors out just yet. GG, well played. Hope you guys enjoyed this. I'll look for any more highlight Wings of Liberty casts from this tournament that we did. And let me know if you guys want to see more. Maybe we can host some more matches. Maybe do a Heart of the Swarm one. Maybe not the end of Heart of the Swarm, since that was a bit of a turtle meta, but who knows? This was meant to be the boring Broodlord Infestor turtle meta, and this wasn't boring at all. This was great. So let me know in the comments what you guys want to see, and we'll catch you guys next time. Goodbye, and good night.